All right, everybody, welcome in and welcome back. Andy, it is the start of a new season. It is the turning of a new page for this podcast as we have video, as some of the listeners can now see if you're watching this on YouTube or however you're going to consume this. But it is fantastic to see your
Mhm.
face.
Yes.
Yeah, the new season for
Yeah.
soccer, new season for us.
New season for everything. Yeah. This is such a new thing. I guess we had just been talking about this a couple weeks ago of trying to find some new ways to spice up the podcast. And we remember something that people had told us that it was we had faces for podcasts. So we decided, you know what? We're not going to just let that be a joke. We're actually going to make it happen. And so everyone can now see, if you want to see our lovely faces or not lovely faces, you guys make the call and let us know what you think. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is our podcast. This is a new wave. I'm just really excited to start this with you, Paul. This is a new
Yeah.
exciting chapter for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So please bear with us if there are any technical difficulties. We're kind of figuring this out on the fly. I mean, I spent
Yeah.
30 minutes prior to this starting on how to get my camera hooked up so that it
Hey, if
worked
they've
through our.
stuck with us for 4 years, Paul, of our dribble, I think they can stand a couple of technical difficulties for us.
Yeah.
I trust our fans. I trust our
Yes.
fans.
Yes, I do too. I do too. So, but yeah, Andy, as we mentioned, it is new season, new us. And
Mhm.
yeah, should we kick this off how we normally do?
Yeah, let's kick this off, Paul. Finally, after the long, I guess, like for you going into this season, was it a long wait for this season? Did you have like any sort of anticipation feeling for this season? I guess where were you heading couple days before your first game of the La Liga season for Barca?
Sure. So I would say I was eagerly awaiting it for a few different reasons. One of the big ones is this past year because Z wasn't working as a resident anymore. She had more time, so it was kind of our tradition where we would sit down and watch Barcelona together. And I loved being able to do that. So having a summer without that kind of felt like a little piece of us almost was missing because it was an activity
Hmm.
we really enjoyed doing together. So I
Yeah,
was eagerly anticipating that, but it kind of came on so suddenly that I was like, "Oh crap, we're playing real soccer again."
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's time.
Hmm. It was quick. It really for some reason this summer, this season, this preseason seemed to come very quick.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I wasn't anticipating and didn't have that same sense of build up anticipation even for myself. So interesting that you had a similar experience on that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But it was exciting. I was like, man, let's go. We actually ended up watching the game yesterday because we were busy pretty much all day Saturday. So we got to go to the opera for the first time, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
There's an opera here in Santa Fe. It's actually the biggest or like the most prestigious opera house in the entire country per I don't
Wow.
know who, but it's very cool. Very cool.
Cool. Heck yeah.
But yeah, so
Learn
we got
something
to
new every
watch the
day.
game yesterday together, which was great. And yeah, Barcelona basically picked up right where they left off last season, Andy. It was a
Nice.
3-0 win over Mallorca, which Mallorca is not the strongest competition, but it was an away game. Anything can happen in an away game. So Barcelona actually ended up opening the scoring in the 7th minute. It was a beautiful cross in from Lamine Yamal to Rafinha, and off of a one bounce kind of headed it down into the goal. And yeah, it was, just kind of like, wow, all right, we're starting off hot. There was some controversy with the goal because it appeared that the ball might have gone out of play in the lead up to the goal when
Hmm.
Barcelona had possession, but there was no VAR review really, and the game wasn't stopped for it. So I'm guessing VAR looked at it and went, not enough evidence to overturn it. The side
Hmm.
judge had the best view and determined that the ball was still in play, so we play on. And then in like the 25th minute or so, there was a play where Lamine Yamal shot the ball at towards the goal, ended up being headed away by a Mallorca defender who was pretty close to the ball. He went down holding his head. The Mallorca players seemed to kind of like stop for a second,
Hmm.
but the referee put his whistle to his mouth, but didn't stop the play, didn't ever blow his
Hmm.
whistle. So Barcelona played on. Ferran Torres got the ball and slotted it top corner.
Hmm.
Mallorca fans went crazy. The players went crazy. And the referee's like, I didn't blow the whistle. This is my decision. We played on. because it was like it wasn't a collision, it was a header away, right?
Hmm.
I think it looked like the Mallorca defender was like, man, my header clearance was really terrible and my head kind of hurts a little bit. I'm going to go down holding my head and hope they stop the play. And the
Hmm.
referee decided not to. So was it controversial? Yes. Would a neutral fan or a Mallorca or a Real Madrid fan want the game to be stopped and think it should have been stopped? Yeah, probably. But it was a 50-50 and the ref decided to play on.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
I think it was kind of on Mallorca for stopping partially
Hmm.
and not clearing the ball when they had the opportunity. So 2-0. Barcelona actually, within 5 minutes, so like a couple minutes after the goal, Mallorca goes down to 10 men because one of the players ended up arguing the no call, got a yellow card for it, and then a couple
Hmm.
minutes later, slide tackled a Barcelona player, got a second yellow card, and Mallorca's down to 10 men. So yeah, and then not like 5 minutes later, the Mallorca striker was going for a ball over the top, stuck his foot way up in the air, ended up hitting Joan Garcia, the goalie, in the face,
I saw that. Yeah.
and straight red card. Wasn't called a straight red card. VAR intervened. Referee looked at it, decided it was a straight red. So Mallorca's down to 9 men within the first half,
Yeah.
and
Jeez.
Barcelona kind of lacked intensity in the second half. Only ended up scoring a goal late from a Lamine Yamal goal. He kind of had a scuffle with a substitute that came on, another young guy for Mallorca, and the Mallorca player ended up shoving Lamine Yamal in the chest, two hands, and Lamine's like, "All right, it's time for me to wake up." And I don't know if you
Hmm.
saw the replay of the goal, Andy, but it was his classic cut the ball into his left foot. He made two defenders run into each other,
Oh,
which
nice.
was
Oh,
wild.
you gotta love that. You gotta love seeing that. Something a
Yeah,
little cartoonish like that.
absolutely. And he just slotted it home top left. And yeah, Barcelona ended up winning 3-0. So it was pretty comfortable. Didn't have to defend much the whole game. Didn't get to see a ton of Joan Garcia. He was very athletic though. It was nice to have an athletic goalkeeper back there because
Hmm.
both Ter Stegen and Chesney are older, so they're not your most athletic goalkeeper. So it's nice to have an athletic goalkeeper back there again.
Sure.
So
Sure. Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway I had, Hansi wasn't happy that we lacked intensity. He was like, we only played 50, 60% when they were down to 9 men. And I get where he's coming from. I want to see the intensity, but it was also nice to kind of put it in neutral and kind of cruise for the majority of the game, first game of the season.
Yeah, it's nice just kind of to get I guess, the jitters out of the way because I feel like for so many teams that are trying to go for like top honors, getting that first win in the season feels so important. So
Yeah.
I I see from Hansi's point of view, and I think as a coach, I would probably feel the same way. But at the end of the day, you got the 3 points.
Yeah.
Really interesting because I had seen some other things too of the tackles seem to be kind of flying thick and fast. I saw an image about Rafinha going, I think, pretty
Hmm.
hard or late into a tackle.
Yeah.
But I know I had also saw the image of the Mallorca player going for not even a tackle, not even a challenge for the ball, but just like throwing his foot up to someone's face. Like that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. The Rafinha tackle, there are some people that are saying it should have been a straight red. The problem is from the one angle, it looks like he's wrapping his legs around the Mallorca player's leg, which is an automatic red, right, for player
Hmm.
safety. But if you look at it from the other side, it's not that.
Okay.
He's kind of like in a V kind of formation, but he only makes contact with one of his legs.
Hmm.
So it would have been harsh to give a straight red. Would I have understood it? Yeah, because it was a bad tackle. But
Hmm.
if you look at it from the different views and from the view that the referee had, which was from the opposite side of where that image was taken,
Yeah.
it looked better than it was from the other side.
Yeah. So you can kind of see it because I think that always kind of gets into question whether or not it gets to the point of is the style of tackle, does that influence the decision for a card or no card? Because if you end up
Right.
getting the ball, for most tackles, if you get the ball, it's fine, it's legal. I think
Yeah.
the only one that it doesn't come into play is if it's like a high boot. Like for anything,
Right.
like you take a high boot to even touch it, they're saying no. So I think that's interesting, or like a high, yeah. That's where I guess I start having questions there, just in general about for the sport, what they should do for that.
Right.
But I don't know. I think if you get it cleanly and you can pull it off cleanly, it's fine. But then if you don't pull it off cleanly, then I think you're screwed. So I'm kind of okay with that, very fine line.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was very much on kind of on that fine line, but I think personally, I think the referee made the right decision in this case. I know some people disagree, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
why we have this podcast. That's why we talk about sports. It's
yeah,
nobody's going to agree on everything. That's the
for
beauty of
sure.
it.
For sure. Yes, definitely. Definitely, Paul. So, well, I'm glad that Barcelona started off so well for you guys. It sounds like even still like the performance wise, were you, I guess, did you feel you guys were the better team overall for it?
Yeah.
With I imagine with the scoreline, I would feel that way.
Yeah, it was second half. Mallorca did very well for themselves. They really really did. But I again just kind of talking about Barcelona being in neutral, and we did enough to win. And I think the
Mhm.
score line makes it look a little bit better than it was, especially watching that second half.
Yeah.
But a win's a win. 3-0's 3-0, especially first game of the season.
Yeah.
Getting the jitters out, playing with some new guys, and just trying to get a feel for how the season's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with the performance.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm glad it got off for a winning start for you, Paul. Over for United, heading into England. United home opener, probably the most anticipated home opener I think in the past couple years because of the two teams that are going head to head. Given where
Yeah.
United has been going against Arsenal, United has been deemed to have the hardest schedule in top flight for soccer. I
Phew.
I don't know if it's top flight in general for soccer or if it's just in England, but I think we faced Arsenal. I think we're facing City and Liverpool within the first 2 months of the season.
Well,
So
I'll do you one better real quick. In the first 5 weeks of the season, Mallorca plays Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid.
oh dang, okay. They probably have
It's
a shout to it.
yeah. They're both bad. They're both bad starts to the season.
Yeah, it's really, really, really rough. And I think just given where United was coming out of their previous season, it makes it really hard because you want to build this head of steam, or we want to build this head of steam with all the positivity that we really had from our preseason. So end result is not at all what we wanted with a loss. It was a 1-0 loss to Arsenal at home. Only goal of the game came in the 18th minute. There was a cross into the box, and like the Arsenal of last year, all they like to do is go creative with their set plays,
Yep.
and they got to Bayendier, and Bayendier got a hand to it, but wasn't enough to get a good punch on it, and Bayendier ended up basically palming it to Calafiori, who was attacking the back post, and that was it. That was really all the offense that Arsenal generated. They had Gyökeres start. He was for a large part ineffectual.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the commentators were saying they just everything was off sync. Gyökeres wasn't on sync with the rest of Arsenal's attack. But in general, I don't think Arsenal really offered all that much. They didn't really trouble, I think, United too much. But United, on the other end, we looked a heck of a lot better than we did our past season, all of past season. The intensity that I saw from the team was really felt different. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to get too overboard because I have seen in the past where second season under a manager we start off with like a lot of zip in our passes where we're trying to thread the needle in between the lines, and our defenders are aggressive with their passing, our midfielders are aggressive with their passing. Over time I've noticed that kind of go away.
Mm-hmm.
But for this one, the intensity was just there. Like, we were physical. No one looked like they were shirking away from a challenge. And that was really pleasing to see. I think
Yeah.
so much so that even at the end of the match, the Stretford End was applauding the team, which I think if the same result happens last year,
Mm-hmm.
fans aren't doing that.
Sure.
But specifically just because of I think the intensity that the team brought to the game and their want and will to push this on, get our fans, I think were great in just giving the team what they needed in that support of saying we just want those performances. The wins will come, and we feel like there's more to it. But yeah, just unfortunate to start with a little bit of a loss there.
Yeah.
There was a penalty claim where I think it was Victor Saliba had, I guess, stepped on the plant foot of Cunha in the box. I think it would have been soft to have given it, but we have seen other ones given at the same time. So I think it's just kind of a thing of consistency and knowing like what referee is more lenient than the other, and just depends on who you get as a referee at some point.
Yeah.
Um,
Would that have been in United's favor?
it would have been in United's favor
Okay.
because
Okay.
it was in Arsenal's penalty box. Cunha was going for the strike, and Saliba had stepped on Cunha going for the strike, and he had possession of the ball. So the step on the plant foot
Mm-hmm.
is essentially would be a play on the ball. But I don't want to look too much into that because I feel like as a team anyway, we shouldn't be looking for penalties. We shouldn't be looking for those. I'd rather just see our team, just go ahead and score.
Sure.
So I think that was maybe the only thing that we were missing was just that little bit lack of a cutting edge to get, to get a goal. But overall, do I think it's progress from even just last season? I think it's miles and miles. If we continue to play like that, like every single game, every single match,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be really proud no matter like where we kind of end up in the season. Even if we don't get Europe for some reason, but I don't see how we couldn't if we still perform in the way that we did to Arsenal. So
Sure. Yeah,
yeah.
and that's the thing. I feel like one of the themes you kind of brought up last season was just the idea of being consistent and consistent effort, right? And I think that goes a long way to fans of, you're not going to win every match, but if you consistently show up, you consistently put in 110%, the
Mhm.
fans are going to appreciate that because eventually results are going to come, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's just performances. When you see performances going well, that's kind of why I was asking you, like, how'd you feel about the performance? Because
Yeah, sure.
that matters, I think, more, especially if it's start of the season or just wherever you're at in a team. If you feel like you're performing well, you have something to always fall back on. Whereas if you're not performing well and you're not really getting the results or squeaking by with results, that's not a whole lot of confidence you can kind of build off of. So I think there's a lot of confidence that can be had from this. And so I think it is what would you call it? A spiritual victory? Yeah, let's call it a spiritual
Moral
victory.
victory. Yeah.
Moral victory, yeah. Moral
Yes.
victory
Yeah.
in that because, yeah, for all the talk of Arsenal, this being their year, wow, you beat a team that was 15th last year. Big whoop.
Yeah, and it
Big
was
whoop.
1-0, right? And it was
Yeah.
close. It was a contested match. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So anyway, but overall, I think still a positive start. I think we play Fulham next week, so hopefully we can just kind of right the ship, get a win under a belt, and I think things will progress there. So
cool.
yeah, so I think that's where we're at for United.
As positive as you guys could be, it sounds like, given the result.
As positive as you can be with getting 0 points out of it. So at the end of the day, let's see.
I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you because I didn't hear Onana's name when you were talking about the
yes.
goalie. So I want
Mhm.
some input, some insight on that.
So Onana has not trained for a week at like a high game level, and I'm taking this based on what Amarim has said.
Okay.
And so that's why Bayendier was in goal. He has been playing in the preseason, Bayendier, as well as Tom Heaton. But Bayendier is the number 2. Tom Heaton is number 3. Bayendier is the number 2. So ipso facto, under Amarim, Bayendier is the number 2. If the number 1's not starting, then our number 2 is playing, and that's his style there.
Is it injury? Is it decision by the
injury.
manager?
I think it's injury. I think it's also potentially a little bit decision by the manager. But the reason I say that is there have been rumors of us trying to go for a goalkeeper. I know we had talked about the idea of going for Martinez earlier, but I don't think it's going to be in the cards for this, given the amount of money we spent already.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
but
interesting that he hasn't found a team yet because it seemed like he was on the outs, but now we're playing again and he's
mhm.
back with Villa. It's the transfer window is just very interesting when it comes to football.
It is. And I think because you're thinking about you're thinking about these contracts and what's the best value. And a lot of these clubs are thinking that too. Because I think Martinez, either he recently signed a deal, or he's not completely at the end of his deal, or he has an
Yeah.
option. And
Yeah.
so all those mean very different things for a club's value. So that kind of, I think, determines what ends up happening for if a move goes through. So, and we're fortunate enough, even though the season started, the transfer window is still open,
Yep.
at least for the next couple weeks. I shouldn't say few. That makes it sound like it's on longer, but yeah, for the next couple weeks. So yeah, that's kind of the vibe, Paul.
There we go.
Yeah. So heading to the vibe check, I'm going to say it's kind of we're in half vibes right now because
Yeah.
not everyone has started. The Premier League has started, La Liga has started, but actually the Bundesliga and Italy's Serie A, B, and C. I want to say, yeah, it's Chi in Italian. Have not started yet. They're starting this upcoming Sunday. So,
Yeah.
Paul, let's go back to La Liga. What's been happening around in that realm?
Sure. So I think the biggest surprise over the weekend, pretty much everybody played over the weekend except for Real Madrid, who for some reason gets to play on Tuesday because they whined to La Liga about starting their season later than everybody else. Why that worked or why that happened, I don't know. But it's really weird. You see all these results and
Uh,
then a gap of days, and it's like, oh, Real Madrid's playing Tuesday.
is that even for television purposes? Like that's the only thing that would make sense to me is like
It,
they want just all the revenue that could ever be generated on a Tuesday. Is that it? Like what?
well, my thing is like, if they wanted that, why not have the game on Monday, like
Yeah,
today? I don't. I
yeah,
Who knows? I don't know, but it seems like a very Real Madrid kind of thing. But I think the biggest shocking result today, or from this past weekend, I should say, Andy, is Espanyol ended up upsetting Atletico Madrid 2-1. And if you're an Atletico Madrid fan, you got to be feeling really bad about yourself
yeah. Oh, I bet.
because Espanyol stayed up on the last day last season,
Yeah.
and Atletico Madrid definitely looked better and looks like they've gotten better in the offseason. Julian Alvarez is flying. He had a beautiful free kick goal and almost scored a second, ended up hitting the post 10 minutes into the second half.
Well,
So it looked like one of those things where Atletico Madrid was going to run away with it, but Espanyol just kind of hung on and put a couple of good crosses into the box and ended up scoring two nice goals. And I'll kind of talk about the second one in our super sub because it's, I think, an early candidate for goal of the year, Andy. I don't think it's going to win,
well,
but it was really nice. It was really, really
probably
nice.
best goal of the weekend, I would think.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
I haven't seen all the goals from the weekend, but it was one of the best for sure. So, yeah, nothing really else to talk about as far as shock results. I mean, you have, I think, 6 or 7 teams at the top of the table with the results and everything that
Mhm.
happened, and Real Madrid is set to play tomorrow. So we'll kind of see how that shakes out. But that
Yeah.
was the biggest eye opener from this past weekend for sure.
Yeah. I don't know how many games you're able to see, but I guess were you impressed by any teams that you saw of the ones that you had checked out?
I mean, I didn't really get a chance to see much. We were kind of busy this weekend, but I was impressed with Espanyol's resiliency
Hmm.
because Atletico Madrid didn't hand them the game, but Espanyol just kind of hung around, and ended up scoring when they needed to score. So
Hmm.
that impressed me. Without being able to kind of look at more games,
Yeah.
that impressed me for sure.
Yeah, because I'm curious, like if Espanyol is going to be in the same position as they were this past season, given their performances. Because sometimes, you have teams that start off really, really hot. I hope United doesn't end up this way. They start really hot and then they hit a slump and they can never recover from it. So you're hoping. So that's a potential, I guess, for Espanyol is they might be one of those teams, or they might have just found something that clicks for this season, and they can kind of kick off and cause some trouble there. So
Yeah,
still a whole season left to play,
for sure.
but sometimes you can kind of get those little insights to see in the rest of the season, I think.
Yeah. I think the other thing too that I saw on social media from this past weekend was La Liga has a huge issue with registering players right now. Remember how I was
Oh,
talking about like the 1-to-1 rule and like all the strict kind of rules La Liga has with registering players? There
yeah.
are more than just Barcelona, like there are a handful of teams that are just having trouble registering multiple players because of how strict La Liga is with their rules.
Hmm.
And I wonder if going forward, if La Liga is going to have to kind of decrease the strictness of these rules so that the teams in the league can register their players. Like it's kind of ridiculous at this point.
Yeah. I could definitely see that because it seems, as much as I understand where it's trying to go, it just sounds like there is a lot of, it ends up being, I hate this phrase, but just a lot of red tape that they then have to do and make all these other clubs go through. And that's
Yep.
not necessarily going to build a great relationship between La Liga and the other clubs as
Yeah.
well, if everyone's having an issue for it. If it was just the top clubs that have to worry about this, totally fine, completely makes sense. But if we were talking about like more clubs that have to deal with this, then that's, I think, like shooting themselves in the foot in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So,
we'll see how that plays out. And Andy, I wanted to just kind of hear your thoughts on the Premier League,
mhm.
since the Italian league is not in business until next week.
Yeah, not in business until next week, but I did actually figure out who FC Cosenza plays.
Oh, okay.
Um, and the reason I'm really excited to go into Serie Chi is because we're kind of getting just further and further down the football pyramid. But I like these stories, man.
Yeah.
Because I feel
Yeah.
like if I was ever to become a professional, I would never make it to the majors. Like I wouldn't
Right.
make it to like the higher leagues. I would probably max out at those like lower leagues. So like I have a
Right.
little bit of romantic kind of thoughts with these like leagues. So there's that, but there's also the actual names of these clubs and
Yes.
who is FC Cosenza playing, but kid you not, Monopoly. So they're playing Monopoly. The first Saturday, they're playing Monopoly. And it's like,
That's
no, they can't be playing
hilarious.
Monopoly. They have a match, and it's like, no, that is their match.
That's so
Um,
great. That is
so
so
yeah,
great.
yeah. So no puns intended at all with that, but just I had to share that. Um, heading to Premier League. I think honestly the biggest news from the Premier League was still we're still talking about Diogo Jota. Just because
Hmm.
it's such a, again, the event and everything, what it means and really what he meant to football, especially in England.
Yeah.
Because he didn't just play for Liverpool and came from Portugal. He played Wolverham- in Wolverhampton. So the Wolverhampton Wanderers have their memories and have their history linked with Diogo Jota as well. So I think all the teams did a tribute to Diogo Jota at some point, either before the match or during the match. So really some harrowing and really, I think, heartfelt scenes throughout that.
Yeah.
Liverpool squeaked by their opener. Ended up being 4-2 against Bournemouth.
Yes.
We did see, I think, big game of City beating Wolverhampton 4-0. So City still being City, putting up crazy numbers and not giving up a single goal.
Yep.
And I think we did see Leeds United finally play in a packed Ellen Road for the Premier League. We also saw Sunderland. So if you heard of Paul heard of the Netflix series Sunderland Till I Die?
I have not. I know of Sunderland from their kind of yo-yoing up and down from the championship into the premiership. So I know of
Yeah.
them from that, but not from the show.
Okay, gotcha. Well, if you do, or if you want to get a fix again for that, knowing that it kind of has a little bit of a happier ending that they get back into the Premier League,
Yeah.
that you can check that out. But they're back in. I think they won their first match in
Yeah.
the Premier League, so giving a lot of people in Sunderland something to cheer about. Away the Black Cats, I think I can say is the right way to say it.
Sure.
We'll go with it. Um,
Yeah, but it was convincing too. 3-0
mhm.
over West Ham. So
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
it wasn't just a win. It was a statement win.
Hey, it's It's West Ham. It's a statement win for sure coming out, but it's also West Ham, I would say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, heading to
And Tottenham, Andy. Don't forget Tottenham.
I will forget Tottenham. I'm still salty from that just horrible match.
It
It's just
was.
so
It
bad.
was. It
It was
was.
the Champions. It was the match of the Champions League, 100%.
Yeah, I put the
So
chump in champions.
and
Yes.
yeah, and they got rid of Postacoglu, mate. They got
Yeah, I
rid of him,
know.
mate.
I know.
How am I
That
gonna have
it's
my
over. It's so
I can't
sad.
I can't have my Fredo cappuccinos. I don't know. There was something on I think it was like the Premier League, and they had a thing on their social media with everyone and what their like drink of choices in the
Yeah.
morning. And so they're going to like British managers and how many cups of tea that they have. And they talk about other managers from that are not in England and like how much coffee they have. But then he goes to Postacoglu, and he's talking about his Fredo cappuccinos because
Yeah.
he's Greek, and that is a Greek drink is the Fredo cappuccino.
There you go.
Definitely go get one if you have not, in honor of Ange Postacoglu fans. So yeah, so that kind of I think rounds out the Premier League that I wanted to touch on for everybody here. But yeah, kind of a shorter, I guess, podcast on this end because we're already at our super subs and super duds, Paul.
Yeah.
So Paul, super sub, who'd you have from this starting week?
Sure. So I have Pere Milla, who plays for Espanyol. He came on as a substitute and ended up scoring the game winner against Atletico Madrid. And it was a beautiful goal. It was a cross into the box, and he is going away from the goal and kind of sticks his head down to kind of glance the ball into the goal. But he's like between the penalty spot and the 18,
Hmm.
and he like chips All Black from Atletico Madrid
Oh
and like
shoot.
this
Okay.
beautiful like teardrop, almost like floater kind of shot. And it go back and watch it, listeners. It was a thing of beauty. I just watched
Yeah.
it and I was like jaw on the floor kind of thing.
I
And
don't
like I
know
said,
how they do that. I
I don't
honestly I
either.
don't know.
I don't know. And he was trying to do it. It's not like one of those things where he's trying to do it and it like goes off his shoulder or something. No, it goes off his
Mhm.
head.
Yeah.
It is a thing of beauty. So that
Yeah.
is my super sub of the week for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always interesting seeing those like chip loops because I think for some people like you see those and you're thinking, "Oh, if you're the goalie, that would be the easiest one to do." But in terms of like where it goes and how much ground you have to cover and react and read that's where I think it gets really tough because it's not like in baseball where, you have a few hundred yards to kind of gauge the
Right.
um gauge the flight trajectory. You have about, like you said, 10 feet, and you have to move potentially 6 feet to kind of get in the right spot. So
Yeah. And
it's very, very impressive.
and you're used to shots coming in like hard and
Hmm.
directed. So when there's a loop, I feel like it just throws goalies off.
For sure. Oh, for sure. And especially if their feet aren't right. So
Yes.
that definitely
Yeah.
will definitely change something up a little bit for
For
it.
sure.
So great super sub call out, Paul, for that. I'm going to say my super sub is I'm going to say the Stretford End. I'll just say again because hearing fans, like true fans, not these kind of keyboard warriors or these fake fans that are coming in and expecting United to be dominant when they're in a rebuild.
Yeah.
Just true fans where they're seeing the performance that the team put out, how hard that they worked, how they battled for everything, but still were just coming up a little bit short and getting the reception afterward, I think just sets the expectations for everyone that as long as you do that, you'll get cheered. And I think that's really the mindset and the mentality that we need to
Yeah.
move forward. So
For sure.
appreciate the fans for doing that.
For sure.
Paul, Super
Andy.
Duds. Super Duds. Who is your
Yes.
Super Dud from the week?
For
This
sure.
seems similar to the past, but go on.
Well, Andy, it's new season. It's same old ESPN FC broadcasts. So not only did we not have audio for the start of the game, we had only crowd noise, which was actually really nice.
Mhm.
And then I think two of the studio guys ended up doing some of the announcing for the game. And then the original broadcasters, which I think was Ian Dark and Steve McManaman,
Wait,
did
Ian Dark is still at ESPN?
I don't
What
know if it
was
was
he?
Ian Dark or somebody else. It sounded very much like Ian Dark. I
Okay.
could be wrong, but he he or somebody else was doing the main commentary, and they couldn't get the sound right for the entire game. Like the timing between the video and the audio was off. So you heard what was happening before it actually happened, which was really
Oh
annoying because
no.
if a goal
Oh no.
happened, you'd hear it and you'd be like 5 seconds behind and you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
So there was that, and the audio from the in stadium audio was gone basically,
Oh no.
and it was just
So you got no
horrible. It's like,
so you got no atmosphere or anything. Oh
yeah, it
yikes.
was very weird. It was very, very weird. It took away from watching the game for sure. And not only that, I know I've bashed Steve McManaman in the past, but he must be one of the grumpiest individuals on the face of the earth. He just is so negative. Like, I just
Mhm.
it gets old. It just gets so old. So that's why. That's why.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I don't follow Steve McManaman as much as I follow other, former players in the Premier League or anywhere.
Yeah.
But I don't think he is like invited onto podcasts a lot.
Yeah.
And I wonder. I'm just putting that out there. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong. I'll never admit that I'm completely right on something, except on what I'm about to say about Jadon Sancho later. But um, for all that, I don't know if I don't think he's my favorite broadcaster. I've never been
Yeah.
like, oh wait, I can't wait for I don't want to remember his name like I know Ian Dark's name. I still I'll listen to Ian Dark if Ian Dark's announcing it
Yes.
because of the
Yes.
history that he has there. I don't think Steve McManaman's necessarily going to get there. Granted, he may still have a longer career, so if he gets there, awesome. Would love for him to get there for himself, but I don't think he's getting
Great.
there right now.
Great.
Yeah, great,
I get to
great.
listen to him. So, Andy, you mentioned it. Jadon Sancho, it looks like is your
Oh
super dud. I want to
golly,
hear. I want to hear about it.
I can't believe I wanted this player back in 2021. I can't believe it. I remember talking to my buddy John because I mean it was pandemic. What else did we do? We just talked, and
That's how this
he was.
podcast got started.
I mean, it is. Yeah, it was. Yeah, pandemic wise. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and I was talking about how like we needed to get this Jadon Sancho guy. Like he was a shoe in. He was dynamite. He was going to make our team better. I thought all these things. And then I realized that this year I am a fan and I am delusional. So and I
What?
got to
You're
this
a
point.
delusional fan? No way.
Thanks, therapist Paul. Thanks for bringing that out of me. um, but yeah, I have so many feelings about, or not so many feelings. I have one just very particularly strong feeling about Jadon Sancho, and that feeling is that he is a baby because not just because of his it's because of his age and just because of his overall maturity level. Where news came out that Roma had put in a $20 million bid to United to take Jadon Sancho off. That is a huge dip in the bucket from what we paid for him for, I think, 4 years ago. Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. And because I think it was 70 million at the time, which was a
Okay.
lot, but we were like, you're getting a player who has the most assists, most goal involvements, by a long shot of anyone in the Premier League or anyone in the top 5 leagues. Shooing going to make your team better from the paper, and taking that dip. Yes, we'll take that, but we just needed to get rid of him. So 20 million should be good. We could just be rid of him. Have to put pocket 20 million for later and be rid of him, get him off the books or whatever. News comes out that the Sancho and Roma failed to agree to personal terms because at least this is what I've heard from the reports. Jadon Sancho is still waiting for better offers. What offers? This is the first concrete offer that United have gotten from a club for Jadon Sancho. What does he think? Does he think he's going to get Dortmund? Dortmund haven't been calling. Oh my god,
Oh gosh.
I'm so over this dude. And he's just a leech and a little baby because he wants to get paid the same amount as if he started, it feels. And the writing's on the wall. You haven't played football in a freaking year. 2 years. You even put up numbers like you had in 4 years. And guess what? You're 25. You're not 21 right now. You're closer to the end of your career. Do you want to play football or do you just want to sit and sleep past your alarm and never play football again? That's my addendum. So that's my feeling strong. That's my strong feeling, and that's why he's my freaking super dud, Paul. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. I think my favorite part about the video podcast is watching your emotions because I could hear them before and now I get to see them.
I think this is going to add to the podcast. I really do, because then seeing your reaction to it too, I think makes it better. Seeing the what as I'm recounting it for you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that's that's my strong feeling on the Jadon Sancho situation. I will be very happy when he moves on to other pastures. I'll leave it at that. So that's why
Yeah.
he's my super dud for that.
Makes sense to me.
All right, Paul, I think we're going to wrap it up there for this week. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for sticking with us and looking at our faces for the past 40 minutes while listening to the drivel that we were talking about.
Yes.
Next week, we will go back into more on what's happening in the leagues, as all the leagues should be starting. We'll have a little bit more a little bit more content, some more scores to bring up to you and give our thoughts and opinions on that. But that has been all. I have been Andy. Paul has been Paul. And with that, I'm wishing you all a big old bye. Oh, he
Bye.
kisses the badge.